Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to number 4, the 4th Wormhole ecosystem call. It's big time.
Where's CZ at? Where's CZ at?
How are you feeling, Rob? I feel like a few of the team members are under the weather. I'm wondering if you're feeling the same way.
You know, I was earlier this week. I powered through. I'm still not like 100%, but I'm good enough. And every time this warm-up music plays, it's got to be some of the best like lobby music there is. I get fired up.
I agree. I was listening to another video that we did for a video we'll actually play today, and I was like, I have to throw this in there solely based on the quality of the music. I was gonna like try cook a tweet talking about Wormhole launch announcement playlists. Like we gotta be like up there. But yeah, as you said, 4th edition. Rob, you've been my trusty co-host through all 4 of these, so appreciate it. I think we've had a bunch of fun. We kicked it off strong with Kaiser, and it was great to have him on the call. He's crushing it. I think he's in his element right now. Obviously, Solana Accelerate coming up. He's loving it. We obviously had Doug and Fogo on as well last week, and then the week before that was we had Sushant, which was around like our settlement launch. That was a good show, and we're following it up with another banger. I think Frisson from Tally will be joining us a bit later. I also think head of growth at the Wormhole Foundation, Katya, will also be joining him to chop it up about MultiGov. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I woke up this morning feeling a little bit under the weather. And the missus just told me that I may have just accidentally taken a Panadol PM. So I think we'll have about I think we'll have like an hour to get through this, and then
bearish.
Yeah, we might have to crash. So let's see what this Panadol's got. But as I said, I'm excited to be here. As usual, the agenda, April recap, housekeeping stuff. April was a big month when it comes to Wormhole on the tokenization and RWA front. We'll cover that in depth. Part of that is an awesome announcement with Mercado Bitcoin. Obviously, they're entering the Wormhole. We also crushed some milestones on that front. And then MultiGov as a big product launch for this month, and some, we also had some sneaky other product updates and launches that I want to highlight. So going to spend a couple minutes on that, and then just wrapping it up, Wormhole IRL. A lot of the Wormhole contributors are in Dubai right now, crushing it. So want to give them their kudos, and also let everyone know where we're heading next. I already teased it, but Solana Accelerate at the end of May is our next big stop. So yeah, let's jump right into it. On the housekeeping front, I think the rewards for SRP1 have been fully distributed. So if you are participating in Stake for Governance for SRP1, you are able to fully claim your allocation, and you are also able to restake that allocation. I think SRP1 was a great success. It was an opportunity to roll out phase 1 of multi-chain governance, a part of this MultiGov product launch, and as well just give people another opportunity to kind of stake, an opportunity to express themselves when it comes to the Wormhole protocol and the future and kind of the trajectory that we're taking. But again, like not to be cliche, but very much like in its infancy when it comes to the realm of MultiGov and multi-chain governance and W governance at large, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's finally here. One thing I'll say is I know a lot of people, I just want to continue to give this context that MultiGov's been kind of taking a little bit of time. And I think just to give some folks context, all governance today is beholden to one chain. So let's just remember that. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about this later, so I don't want to give everything away. But we had to rebuild a lot for MultiGov, and obviously staking is going to come with that. As Thomas mentioned, staking reward program 1 is done, and 2 is very, very close. So we're excited about that. And maybe in a little bit here when we have Frisson and Katya on, we'll go over more of the MultiGov and why it's actually novel and why it actually took a little bit longer. But now it's exciting to see who's going to be using this and what protocols are going to, go multi-chain with their governance.
Yeah, very cool. And again, just to wrap up here, SRP2 rewards are actively accruing. So if you are staking your W for governance, you are participating in SRP2. I think in the next 2 weeks here, we'll have an announcement about more details when it comes to timelines and allocations of the program. Again, MultiGov and Stay for Governance very much intertwined. Cool. I think that wraps that up. April highlights, another awesome month. We will cover each of these in depth. I think M0, we haven't really gone a call without mentioning M0. I know you just filmed a podcast that was M0 focused. So certainly hot. We feel like we give them their kudos each week. So shout out the guys over at M0. I don't even want to spoil this one because there's a fun little reveal coming up. I'll skip over that. The other I've already mentioned this, but Mercado Bitcoin announcing blankety blank. We'll do a proper rollout because there's another video that's just like unreal that I want to give its kudos and make sure everyone listens in. Anemoy, we announced obviously a co-partnership and collaboration with Centrifuge, announced its first tokenized asset fund, 200 million Janus Henderson, which was awesome. And then again, MultiGov I've already mentioned. So yeah, I as I said, we don't this is like part.
There's another track. Add it to the list.
I know that's another track, but I'll pause it here. Not to be the dead horse, but just again context on M0, allowing basically infrastructure that allows providers to launch their own stable coins. Recently expanded to Solana. It's been, I would say, very fun to see stablecoin TVL grow on Solana in general. I would say like 2021, 2022, you would see those like whale watcher posts that said like, $1 billion USDC minted on ETH, and it was very ETH centric. And now we're actually seeing that the whale watcher posts, $1 billion USDC or USDT minted on Solana, and then soon hopefully we'll see 1 billion Agora or 1 billion Smart M minted on M, and Smart M minted on Solana. So that was a cool announcement. Obviously got Solana involved. I think everyone from the Solana ecosystem was pumped to have them. Like, again, one of the more nascent stablecoin teams, growing very quickly in terms of reputation and in terms of metrics. So again, I think we've covered the front there. Anything else to add, Rob, on this side?
Yeah, and look, we have no vested interest because they use Wormhole, but beyond that, no other real like vested interest in M0. They're just a really good team with a really good product. And the way I would think about, I think I've said this before, but the way I would think about M0 is like there's a stable coin, and this is like a gross overestimation of how technically complex and great it is, but it's like a sophisticated pumped out fund for stable coins, right? Like it has its own, but you can also use M0 as infrastructure to launch other stable coins. So that's like a very quick, rough way to think about it. But that's going to be powerful, especially as Thomas is talking about. Just stable coins are here to stay. I think a lot of people agree, and we're just seeing kind of them go up and to the right. And so more and more are going to continue to come and use M0 to launch. And we have a few actually in the pipeline. We're not going to give too much away, but a few stable coins in the pipeline coming up with chain launches that we have.
Let's go. So that will be May's ecosystem call. That'll be a topic of discussion there. So M0 lives to see another month of shout outs on the ecosystem call. But yeah, I think for the big kind of focus of the rest of the show, wanted to do it justice and cook some fun stuff for us.
Wait, what? Okay,
Like,
one thing I don't think anyone realizes is that Thomas goes and cooks all of this, and I don't actually know about it.
I'm gonna give credit to Josh on this one, but yeah, Robinson does. He doesn't
This
see
is
these
my first
slides
time seeing
or
it.
anything. Yeah, he doesn't see any of these before. So like even the stuff from last week, he comes in completely blind to these shows. And he's a good sport
That's
about
so
that.
good,
I
so
feel like
good.
we have to. I feel like we have to watch it again.
Yeah, it's so
and
good.
we can talk over it, but yeah, for any Jurassic Park fans out there, this is like this is the seed.
I don't even want to talk over it. It's just so funny. Wait, what are they looking? Is this the T-Rex scene?
I don't think it's a T-Rexing. I think it's the large dinosaur that's like towering over them.
The
I'm not gonna
Brontosaurus.
I'm not gonna butcher the name, but
Come
one of
on, what
the
is it? Try it.
no. But yeah, that shout out Josh, our head of marketing, for cooking that. He's our AI. He's actually our AI wizard in house. So if you see any like good AI generated content, 90% chance it's come from Josh. But yeah, let's not get lost in the quality of the movie clip. Let's get into it. I think again, I don't want to like cheapen the moment, because I feel like every time we do come on this ecosystem call, we're like celebrating some kind of milestone. So I might have to like temper it when it comes to like celebrating milestones, and it's too much winning. We might be tired. Yeah, we can't. We don't get tired of winning though. So yeah, $3 billion officially multi-chain tokenized assets under management. For those who might not kind of like understand what like the full scope of this is, Wormhole is powering $3 billion worth of assets from multiple providers across chains. Some of those we've already mentioned in the show. Some of them, a la Securitize, we've mentioned in previous shows extensively. Securitize has multiple funds that are multi-chain with Wormhole, namely BlackRock Biddle and Apollo A-Cred, their private credit fund. Additionally, we mentioned Anemoy in collaboration with Centrifuge, which has the Janus Henderson $200 million tokenized fund. And then more recently, as of this week, announced a collaboration and integration with Mercado Bitcoin, exclusively powering their $200 million real world asset tokenized fund. Unfortunately, Dan is not on the call with us today, but this one's close to home for Dan. Mercado Bitcoin is the largest, is the highest volume crypto exchange in Brazil and one of the larger in Latin America. And as far as we understand, like this tokenized fund is one of the bigger, if not the biggest in the region. I don't want to misspeak, but
No,
I think it's
Latin
definitely
America.
up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's very cool. That was announced at Web Summit yesterday. I think Dan gave a keynote with someone from the team at Mercado Bitcoin. I'll have to go back and watch that talk. Was looking through the slides. They looked very cool. But yeah, I think the proliferation of RWA and tokenized assets continues. We as Wormhole contributors understand and appreciate like the importance of this trend and kind of like this seismic shift in what assets are coming on chain. I think we're very much aligned on the stable coins being the future, as Ram mentioned earlier, and then this other side of the dynamic, which is RWAs and tokenized assets. So yeah, like anything to add here, Rob?
Oh, I've always got stuff to add, bro. You know this.
Let's go.
No, I think the 3 billion number is big because one thing that's specific to Wormhole is that we're the only interoperability protocol today that is working with institutions that have on-chain assets flowing on mainnet. Like, and not only that, but we also are working with all of the leading tokenization platforms for the most part, right? And so Securitize obviously works with BlackRock, works with Apollo. These are multi-trillion-dollar funds, and they're leading in terms of the assets being brought on chain. Then we have all these tokenization platforms are like the gateways for institutions coming on chain. Animal and Centrifuge, as Thomas mentioned, was another big win. That's already 200 mil plus on chain that Wormhole's going to secure between the chains. We've got, and then this one in particular, Mercado Bitcoin, is exciting because it's just another kind of like institutional win for Wormhole. And it's just showing that like a lot of the security decisions and the technical decisions we made years ago are now being appreciated by the institutions because they're seeing the robustness and the thought and the security behind the system. And that's ultimately what's driving this like product market fit for Wormhole, and why that's just Wormhole from an institutional perspective is just separating from the pack. And so it's just really exciting for me to see, because it's a lot of years in the making, and it makes things like Mercado Bitcoin an exclusive relationship with, you know, of course, the exchange, but the tokenization platform, something that's a no-brainer. And so we have a lot of these like US specific, I guess, tokenization platforms that we've just been winning, and now kind of expanding that into LATAM. And, you know, to Thomas's point, from what I understand, Mercado Bitcoin is the largest tokenization platform in LATAM, and then crypto exchange in Brazil. It's just a perfect partner to continue the expansion globally. So that 3 billion number is that multi-chain tokenized assets under management on chain. I even tweeted something about this yesterday. And so there's I think north of 3 billion now between all the funds that Wormhole secures cross chain, and that number grew so quickly. So it's only just going to continue to kind of multiply from there. So I get super fired up about this part. I'm even wearing my Wormhole soccer jersey right now, just to
number 25,
number 25, just to show my excitement. But yeah, I'll pass it back to you. But just wanted to bring some extra emphasis on like how unique this is for Wormhole and the industry broadly, that there's just this insane product market fit, and it's Wormhole and the institutions here.
Come completely. Holy, I almost forgot. I almost forgot this part.
Latin America's financial system moves trillions every year. Yet despite the size, the system often remains slow, costly, inefficient, and inaccessible to most of the population. Platforms like Mercado Bitcoin are unlocking faster, more efficient, and more accessible financial infrastructure for the world's assets. Mercado Bitcoin, Latin America's largest tokenization platform and Brazil's largest crypto exchange, is expanding its $200 million tokenized asset portfolio globally and across all major blockchain networks. For this expansion, Mercado Bitcoin has chosen Wormhole as its exclusive interoperability provider for its asset tokenization platform. From BlackRock to Apollo Global, Janus Henderson, and now Mercado Bitcoin, Wormhole is connecting the world's leading financial institutions with over $3 billion in multi-chain tokenized assets under management.
Goosebumps, bro. Goosebumps. Seriously.
I don't even need to talk. I feel like I do a butcher job compared to a 2-minute video like that. Yeah.
One thing I will say, I love the way he says Wormhole. He's like, Wormhole. So good. So good.
The power of having David Attenborough narrate your Mercado Bitcoin announcement.
Everyone's entering the Wormhole. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
So that was awesome. The other, again, we've alluded to this before. We don't need to beat the dead horse, but I do want to play the video because I think this is what I was talking about with the music, Robinson. So top 5 product launch track of all time.
Let's ride.
Wormhole.
Turn it up if you have it. You're listening in. Crank it. Actually,
Right.
though,
Top
top
five.
five for
Top five.
sure.
Cool. I think that we did a good job of that. The videos were dope. I think for the most part covered everything. So let's move on to our next segment. The thing that I would say most people have been waiting for. It's the multi-chain governance. Press start for multi-chain governance.
Let's go.
But we have two special guests joining us. I'm going to add them to the stage right now. Katya, head of growth at the Wormhole Foundation, and Frisson, chief revenue officer at Tally. Welcome to the show, guys. All of our special guests, external guests, get a bobblehead. Like Doug got one, so Frisson gets one. Unfortunately, Katya is not external, so she doesn't get a bobblehead. I think we should mint these as NFTs at some point for our special guests. So welcome, Frisson. Why don't you give us a quick intro, and Katya, you can fast follow.
I'm so uncomfortable with this image, but uncomfortably excited. I'm also still so hyped from that Mercado Bitcoin video. I was backstage while that was playing, and yeah, goosebumps. Let's go. Hey, so I'm Frisson. I'm the chief revenue officer at Tally. Tally is the leading software layer for on-chain organizations. We've worked really closely with Wormhole and also Scopelift, which is a development team in the Ethereum ecosystem, and now the Solana ecosystem as well, to build out MultiGov, which is the world's first multi-chain governance platform that includes both Solana and EVM. So I'm super hyped to talk about MultiGov, why it's exciting, why it's bullish for Wormhole, and also why it's bullish for the Wormhole DAO, which is the first production implementation of MultiGov. So great to be here.
Welcome,
Katya. Sure, I'll chime in with a quick intro. Everybody, long-time listener, first-time guest, stoked to be here. The theme of the show is very entertaining. I'm staring at you on this ball, Frisson. But I'm Katya. I'm the head of growth at Wormhole Foundation, focusing on everything on-chain, growing the Wormhole ecosystem, growing our volume, and leading our team to success.
Welcome.
I think we've gone like 3 for 3 on videos so far, so why not go 4 for 4?
Ooh. Okay, that's no too soon.
Another stanky beat, as the kids like to say.
Stanky beat. That's another top 5. That's like post Solana Accelerate. There's going to be people go to some Brooklyn club, and that's going to be playing. That's how good that is.
Oh, I do not want to replay it.
I could have done it again.
Oh,
could have done it again.
We'll go slides. So yeah, as the video and as everyone has kind of alluded to, the first of its kind multi-chain governance experience and system. But I'll let the experts give the background in terms of the ecosystem, product layout, pre MultiGov, what that looked like, what the experience for governance participants were for someone that had a multi-chain token. So yeah, I don't know if Katya or Frisson, you want to take it away, but either of you will have much better context and will be more eloquent than I could ever be.
Go for it. Special guest.
I'll take my shot at this. So yeah, before MultiGov, governance was inherently tied to one chain. So if you think about all of the like big governance tokens that are out there today, you know, in the Ethereum ecosystem, the Arbitrum, Optimism, Uniswap, Lido, in the Solana ecosystem, Jito, those tokens, you know, it's possible to, of course, bridge those tokens, and you know, in many cases through great technology like Wormhole, as well as native bridges. But if you bridge the token away from the sort of home chain of the governance or protocol, it can no longer participate in governance. And as the world moves multi-chain, as you know, the world moves on-chain with some of these great institutions and you know, real-world asset platforms that were talked about earlier in this call, it's really not you know, tying kind of the governance or like the operations of a protocol to just one chain is fundamentally incompatible, I think, with where the world is going. And so that's where MultiGov comes in. It really allows a protocol that has a multi-chain vision or approach or implementation to also allow the operations of that protocol to exist in a multi-chain state as well. So it's really like a 0 to 1 or like before after moment. Before MultiGov, protocol operations are tied to one chain. After MultiGov, they're multi-chain. So yeah, that's MultiGov.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
And it
Katya,
also,
the journey I feel like is has been pretty cool working with Tally and Scopelift. Like, you know, anyone who's participated in governance before knows Tally, and then being able to kind of like co-create this this Michelin star governance tool, I think is special.
yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where I think it's changed what it means for a protocol to be multi-chain, right? I think historically, I always had this vision of, you know, protocols being able to exist across different chains and communicate with, you know, the different instances of each other. And I think just the tooling hasn't really been there. But what we've seen over the last few years is the tooling to take tokens cross-chain has really, really improved. Like NTT totally changed the game for any asset issuer that wants to go cross-chain. But then, you know, even as you look at the Wormhole protocol, we have such a cross-chain ecosystem. We have such a multi-chain, you know, token holding base. And so we wanted to make sure that, you know, anybody who has a similar problem or a similar cross-chain architecture can still empower their users to participate in governance and be vocal and be active in DAO governance. And historically, it's been a challenge, and the tooling just hasn't really been there. And so while we know the interoperability piece really, really well, we wanted to work with experts in the space who understand the governance piece really, really well. And so that's why we were thrilled to be able to work with Tally and Scopelift, longtime DAO OGs, to design this system that allows not only for like cross-chain proposal creation, but also execution. So if you're, you know, a DAO that's operating has a protocol that operates on multiple chains and you want to issue grants specifically on one, you'll be able to do that with this new architecture. So it just kind of gets us closer towards that chain abstracted future that crypto Twitter has been talking about for centuries, or what feels like centuries,
millennia.
No, generations.
Yeah. The one thing I maybe add too is, like, especially at least from the Wormhole perspective, we're on the front lines of helping everyone go multi-chain. So if anything, we've seen it's almost the not the norm to have any token be just on one chain. And what happens, I mean, what Frisson and Katya are saying, you know, put simply, once that token goes to another chain, like let's say you want to take advantage of some great, you know, farming opportunity or something on another chain with that token, and the governance exists on the other one, you can't really do anything in that sense. So this gets us closer to kind of having your cake and eating it too. And every token now is, or most tokens now, are multi-chain. So it's just really going to apply quite broadly, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, and part of our mission and part of our mandate, I think, is like Wormhole contributors, is to make multi-chain fast, easy, fun, accessible. And I think that, like, you know, when you look at the way that MultiGov was designed, it kind of kept those core principles in mind. Maybe Frisson can speak to some of the challenges you see in DAO governance today and why taking it cross-chain can be so powerful for these teams.
Absolutely. So I like the way I think about governance is it's really just a way to create a robust foundation and kind of trust model for crypto protocol, right? So, we think about topics like decentralization or censorship resistance. Really, it's about being able to guarantee to partners and people building on top of your product that there isn't one actor that can come in and take over the system or censor transactions or take all the protocol tokens for themselves, right? It provides like guarantees that you can like verifiable guarantees of that. And that's really important for any protocol, right? It's really important for the Wormhole DAO or the Wormhole protocol as they're bringing on these institutional partners, right? So that's kind of the why of governance. I feel like DAOs have been used. That term has been used a lot to mean a lot of different things, but that's really how I think about it. Is just what's the trust model, the underlying trust model and governance model for your protocol that creates kind of a confidence for the long term with partners and builders. And so I think when we think about like how to design a governance architecture or like tooling to enable that for success for the long term, that's where I think the multi-chain piece comes in and where MultiGov comes in, right? Like if you want to make your protocol and your protocol's governance robust for the long term, you want to be able to create kind of like a strong foundation that enables you to be flexible, be multi-chain. A really concrete example of this today I would point to is the Uniswap protocol and DAO. So when Uniswap launched, there was only Ethereum L1, right? There was no L2 roadmap. There was no app chains. There was no, at least in the Ethereum world, right? But now, not only is the Uniswap protocol on many chains, Uniswap actually has its own chain that they see as sort of like a liquidity home and hub for Uniswap. But if you look at Uniswap's governance, all the governance tokens are currently on L1. And there really isn't a path without something like MultiGov to actually enable that experience on Unichain, not to mention all the other EVM chains that Uniswap is deployed on, right? So that's a good example of how do we retain like the strong guarantees and credible neutrality that Uniswap governance has in place around the Uni Treasury and the fee switch, but how do we enable that or like future proof it in a multi-chain way? So that's a really clear example. We're working on partnering with the Uniswap DAO, like that's in progress, right? It's still early on in terms of like their vision for how governance interacts with Unichain, so it's going to take some time. If any of you are Uniswap delegates or involved with Uniswap, put in a good word for MultiGov. But that's how I think about kind of the use case of MultiGov and why it's really important for the future of the leading protocols in the space.
Frisson had to hold himself there. He was gonna be outrageously bullish MultiGov for like a quick second, but I appreciate the credible neutrality for Frisson on that point. But yeah, I think all points very well heard in terms of post MultiGov pain points, and then kind of even when I think about governance and like general evolution, and I'm sure you can attest that it's changed so much from like what the high level vision was 5 years ago, and when it came to launching a DAO versus now, how DAOs and how DAOs, grant funding and building ecosystems kind of intertwine. What are like the different political, socio-economic decisions that need to be kind of taken into consideration when DAOs do have such immense, for lack of a better term, power in an ecosystem, right? It is ultimately the end goal to decentralize the decision-making process. But I think there's always, as the power kind of like scale evolves, there's always very much learnings along the way. And the last thing I'll say is like, I'm also excited as with renewed regulatory clarity around different mechanics that DAOs govern, the decisions actually feel, the decision power and like the decisions will actually be, I believe, ramped up significantly, and will kind of be like fundamental to how value accrues to these different ecosystems. So exciting to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually so a couple things. One, I think you touched on what I think is the most important thing for DAOs or protocols to be thinking about going forward, which is sustainability and revenue/value accrual. I think we've moved beyond the phase of crypto where people are willing to value things on an ongoing basis based on hype or the hope of a future 1 million X in the size of the ecosystem, right? I think people want to see some tangible evidence of traction and ultimately either like existing revenue or like a strong potential for future revenue that's credible. And so that's really what I'm focused on. And I think, what the smartest teams are focused on right now is how do we make sure our token is sustainable and has some sort of like credible value accrual to it over time. And there's infrastructure in place to have token holders kind of participate in that in a way that's still like decentralized and incredibly neutral. One thing I would actually like push back on a little bit is this idea of decentralized decision making. That's actually something that I think we've learned has some holes in it, right? Like this idea
Sure.
of DAOs is like, it's gone through a lot of permutations, right? It means a lot of different things. I think in the 2021 cycle, there was a lot of hope that you could sort of truly decentralize an organization, no leadership or no like defined leadership or organizational structure. And I think as someone who's kind of been through the trenches on that in a number of different DAOs over time, I think it actually doesn't work very well, right? There's a reason that leadership exists. I think the idea of having some kind of like more clear organizational structure and decision-making framework is there's a good reason that exists in nature, right? Like it's actually like really important for groups of people to get things done. And so going forward, I think we're going to see DAOs more as like a governance layer that ultimately controls the protocol and purse strings, right? And this is where kind of the whole like creating a strong foundation for protocol governance comes into play going forward. But what I think we'll see less of is like delegates or token holders weighing in on minutia, right? Like, what should our grants program look like? Which grant should we fund? How do we develop this new thing? Can someone else just come in and build this for the protocol, right? I think we're going to see kind of aligned teams take on those roles with clear areas of ownership. And then the role that token holders play be more about on a high level, are we going to approve this funding or use of the treasury or not? Are we comfortable from a due diligence perspective with making this protocol upgrade, right? So that's something that I would say sustainability and value accrual is a theme going forward. And I think something we'll see less of over time is this like many people coming in to decide over like relatively granular matters surrounding particular product or protocol.
I absolutely love this take. I actually put a name to it just for myself to try and conceptualize it a bit more. But I think about this as like crypto's practical era. I think you actually touched on a few things there. Number one is like how we value protocols in general. Like just, your role at Tally, having the word revenue in it is super telling, right? About the priorities for Tally, but also what I think will be how we value protocols moving forward on revenue as we get more clarity around what fee switches looks like and value accrual back to various ecosystem participants. I think that we're going to move in that like practical valuation exercise, if you will. Then I think there's a whole practicality conversation around what's too much or too little decentralization or for protocols themselves. Like, can you have a protocol that's 19 validators, 10 validators, thousands permissionlessly? Like, what's that spectrum look like? And kind of maybe coming off the super far end of that a little bit. And then also governance, like decision making with governance. Like there's this, it's nice to see the industry learn from what maybe you could say are mistakes or just things that aren't optimal. And I think a lot of it is kind of culminating into these three broader buckets And I know we're at Wormhole Foundation, really thinking about these and trying to align ourselves in that direction. And it's great to hear Tally and MultiGov as well.
Yeah, I definitely gained some brain cells when Frisson was talking, and I saw Rob studying. I think Rob was taking notes, so he's learning. But yeah, Katya, why don't you kind of give us the long and long of what we should be expecting over the next couple of weeks? I know we'll have a busy couple of weeks. I know some things are in the works, some things are already set. So yeah, wherever people should be looking to for updates on MultiGov, where they should be looking to when it comes to the Wormhole governance system, all things Wormhole. Would love to get that from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're finally at that inflection point. MultiGov is finally live. So MultiGov is the actual product behind that's going to be used to power Wormhole governance. That'll go live in the coming weeks. But MultiGov is a product that anybody launching a DAO, launching a protocol, launching governance on chain can use today, which is super exciting. But right now, looking specifically at the Wormhole governance, we just recently opened up the opportunity for Solana delegates to start enrolling in the program. So if you are watching this ecosystem call and you are keeping up with all the news that's coming out of Wormhole and you want to have a say in the way that Wormhole governance is run, please, please, please take the time, takes 5 minutes, sign yourself up as a Wormhole DAO delegate. It's a really interesting opportunity for people who are excited about the Wormhole protocol to be able to have a voice and accumulate voting power from other W token holders. We'll have that opportunity for anybody who holds W on Solana to actually start delegating in the coming weeks. And then all the delegates will be able to start voting on the first proposals that'll roll out shortly after that. So we're getting really, really close towards moving down this path of progressive decentralization, and we're excited to take you all on the ride with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the time. Really appreciate it. We are we're close, right? I think it's gonna be awesome when it finally goes live. And Katya and Frisson, thank you guys so much for the work that you do for the Wormhole governance process and the DAO at large. So awesome. I'm sure we'll see you guys again, but for now, we'll bid you guys a farewell, and we'll move on to wrapping up this show. But yeah, thank you guys so much. See you
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Can we talk about that logo? I mean, it's like one of the better product logos in crypto. It makes me want
the
to
brand, dude. Have you seen the MultiGov merch?
Yeah.
It goes hard. So I need to get myself a t-shirt. But yeah, that was cool. That I learned a lot. I hope everyone that was listening actually paid attention and not like zoned out like when I'm talking or when Roms talk sometimes. But no, two insanely smart people. Yeah, we're coming up on time. Usually try to keep this within the hour. There are two things I wanted to flag though. There's one more thing after this, but I felt like this was important when it comes like, you know, where the Wormhole contributors are spending their time on the product side. I think my favorite new product that we're coming out with outside of MultiGov is the NTT Launchpad, basically enabling no code, low code product to launch a multi-chain token across every EVM compatible chain, as well as Solana. So if you are someone that has an existing token on one chain and would like to take it multi-chain, the NTT Launchpad is for you. If you're someone that would like to launch a token that is natively multi-chain, you are also able to use the NTT Launchpad. And again, for those who might not be as familiar with the process, NTT enables, which is short for native token transfers, allows developers to natively launch tokens across multiple chains. And I feel like I just said the name of the product back. But
I was like,
yeah,
is that PM medicine kicking in? Like, it's starting to feel
you are able, you are not, essentially you're not wrapping a token when you are leveraging NTT and the NTT Launchpad, which is an evolution of, as Katya described, an evolution of what it means to truly be multi-chain, and an improvement in the developer experience. And then on the other side is a revamp, a refresh of Wormhole's most popular powered front end in portalbridge.com. You will notice some very, very slight UX changes. I think it looks awesome. And then on the performance side as well, users should feel some tangible changes. I think, again, like when I'm not biased, but maybe I am. When I'm moving money cross-chain, Portal is often and it is always my bridge of choice and front end of choice. So yeah, like Rob, I know you love the NTT Launchpad, so do I. And then I guess also looking forward to the evolution of Portal and how that kind of will intertwine with Wormhole as a brand, and just the importance of ensuring that users have a seamless and a very efficient cross-chain bridging and swapping experience.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot here. The way just to stay consistent with the pumped up fun analogies, like NTT Launchpad is like a more powerful version in a way, right? You can launch a token on Solana with the NTT Launchpad. You can launch a token across all chains, or you can make a token that already exists, multi-chain. And we invested a lot in this to make sure that you don't have to know how to code to do it, which I think is future of a lot of crypto products in general, but I think is really cool about this. So definitely check it out, especially if you want to launch a token soon, or you just want to play around and launch a Thomas or 0xSyn's meme coin. Like, you should probably talk to him, but you could do that there. And then Portal, Portal is look, we're investing heavily here. You can already see a lot of changes. Go to the website today. Just like super metrics driven, how fast things are loading, how fast balances are populating, more routes, faster transfers. And there's going to be a lot, like Portal's going to be a super app. Just to give that little tease, and we'll let you figure out what that means. But we're going to invest a lot here, mobile, all of that. So just keep using it, keep an eye out for it, give us your feedback. How can we make it better? But you're going to see rapid changes over not the coming quarters. I'm talking coming weeks, which is super exciting. So yeah.
Let's go. That's awesome. And then to kind of wrap us up here, Wormhole in Dubai, obviously token 2049 happening right now. Wormhole contributors are actively crushing it across stages, across panels. Saeed at Wormhole Labs, we have Richit, we also have Sushant here crushing it on a fireside with one of is that Amit, one of the partners at Borderless.
Is Sushant using his passport photo?
Dude, I already gave him a hard time for it, so don't even start. I don't want to pull up the group chat receipts, but we certainly gave him a hard time. It doesn't even like look at the difference, right? It's like, who's this guy sitting in the chair? You don't even
it looks, he's like, I'm excited to tell you about interop, that guy, and then the other guy is like, it's 6 a.m. Take this photo. Hurry up!
like not happy to be here. So we'll get Sushant a new picture. That's for sure. When you mentioned like launching a Thomas coin, I laughed because someone launched a Sushant coin on Pump Fun when he it was like a really casual like post. I think he replied to Solana, and then Solana like retweeted his reply, or maybe he tweeted, and then I don't know if it was in DMs or like immediately in the reply below was like just launched this the Pump Fun thing, like just launched this ticker was Sushant coin. So we had a good laugh.
What's the M cap at today?
I don't even want to look. The dev didn't
rug
the roadmap. Yeah.
Okay. No roadmap.
So RP the dev. But yeah, I think it's cool to see. Obviously, Multi-Chain Day, which is a recurring event at the majority of large crypto conferences around the world, headlined by Wormhole. We're the leading sponsor for Multi-Chain Day. It is a super high signal event at pretty much every conference that you go to. So we are really, really stoked to be able to do that with Multi-Chain Day. I remember I went to Token 2049 last year and spent most of my day at multi-chain day, and was definitely one of my favorite events from the quality and breadth of diversity of people and builder to the panels and just kind of general high signal information that's being shared. So yes, just shout out to all the Wormhole contributors in Dubai. And then as I alluded to before, where we're going next, if I was our friend Kaiser, I would be blasting the Eagle, blasting the American Eagle sound button. So next time we probably, when we do a Solana Accelerate recap, we need Kaiser back on. That will be our special guest for that session. But yeah, in coming up in 3 weeks here, less than 3 weeks, Solana Accelerate in New York City. I will be there. I wasn't gonna let the next one miss me. I wasn't at Tokenize NYC, and I was.
You're gonna do a fit check or something like outside Accelerate?
You that's on you, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. You owe the people a fit check.
But
yeah,
don't remind them.
The ship or die. I'm gonna butcher this, but there's two kind of separate but similar, separate but under the larger umbrella of Solana Accelerate. One is ship or die, and then I guess the other one is Solana Accelerate. But I'm sure you'll see more from us on this topic. But yeah, I think that is it for our show today. Almost at the hour. I think timed it pretty well. So yeah, thank you, Robinson. Thank you to our special guests, Frisson and Katya. We covered a lot from Mercado Bitcoin and Anemoy to $3 billion worth of tokenized multi-chain assets under management, to MultiGov, and to Token 2049 Dubai, and all the way back to New York City. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate this, and we'll see everyone next month. Again,
thank you to our host, Thomas.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, guys. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao.